stage of creating the custom exception, how we can use in our program. Then we'll be looking into the cleanup block, and also we'll be looking into the resumable exception. Fine. So let's go and see. But before going ahead, let's have a quick recap what we have done in our last session. In last session, we have seen what is the use of load keyword, what is the what is the use of deferred keyword, and we have also seen how to create a T code for class and methods. There were one problem which we were facing, that the write statement was not working. I checked and found that the write statement does not work with the uh, T code with the class and methods. So if you want to display something, you have to put in the form of message, or you have to use the CL output demo display data. I will show you what I'm trying to tell. And we have also seen how we can handle the exception, and what is the exception and what is exception handling, right? So this is the part. Let me show you once again. Go to the SAP system, and we will take the yesterday example. So that was which example? Let's go to /o SC93, and there we have created this transaction. For this transaction, this is the class name which we used. So /o SC24 over here. Go to this class name, click on this display button, and here we have used which method over there? AM1 method, right? So let's go to the AM1 method, double click over here, and here we are using the write statement. So write will not work with the class with the T code. So if you want to display some output, you have to use maybe the message you can use, or you can use the CL demo output, the one which used for the purpose of displaying the output. So CL underscore demo underscore output. This is just to display the output data. Okay. And display data we can use. So here some value, if you want to print, that you can print. So just some dummy value I'm giving, dummy value. And the name of the transaction, we can give it something class method transaction test. Okay. And check the syntax and activate this one. And we can also use maybe message. Let's suppose if you want to display some message, so we can use test type I, and this will be now displayed. So activate this one, and now let's go and run this transaction. Run this one, and you can see that dummy value is now coming, and here the message is also coming. So this way it will work. Write statement, it does not display over there, maybe because of a standard screen, and it is not the report. If this is the T code for the method of this particular class, so here it is unable to find the standard screen, and that may be the reason why the write value, this write statement. But whatever you are going to write over here, the business logic or whatever it is, everything is going to get processed, because through this you are going to call those particular piece of code. Okay. So this is one thing about this, right? So how to create this part we have seen. Simply we have to go to SC93, and there we have to use this. And here one important stuff yesterday I I showed you that if you want to use the transaction, if you want to use the static method over here, then you have to remove this tick mark. Okay. If you want to use the instance method over here, you have to put this particular tick mark. So OO transaction model, this particular point, you just have to remember, or if you means this you should know, so that when you are creating, it will help you. So enable OO transaction model when you have to what, use the instance method. Okay. Disable OO transaction means remove that check mark. Okay. Transaction model when you don't have to use, when you don't have to use the instance method. That means when you have to use the static method. Okay. When you have to use the static method. So this is the two important point we are having. Okay, fine. And then we have seen, that all the exception class is having their root class that is known as cx underscore root, and this has been further divided into three part. Okay, this and this. So into the section, this ppt, I will be putting it over there. Okay, let me remove this is a repetition. Yeah. Okay. And then we have seen about this, right? Cx underscore root is the root class for all the exception class, and all the exception class is starting with the prefix called cx, right? Here we have the three types. So let's go into little deeper into this cx underscore static check. What is the meaning of cx underscore static check? Meaning of this means, right, design time plus runtime, both time check it will be performing. The cx dynamic check, can you guess which kind of check it is going to perform? It is going to perform only a runtime check, and here this is going to not perform at all any check, not perform at all any check. What do you mean? What do we mean from design time, plus runtime? Here only the runtime. Any guesses from your side? Oscar is telling T code has to be lined to a module pool program. Yes, T code generally we create for module pool program, but for a class method also we can directly create the T code. For table maintenance generator also we can create the T code, right? Different options are there for creating the T code. One more question, can you help to show me how to get the import and export parameters while calling the method using the control? That's fine, we will be looking into. Okay, what is the use case for to create the transaction for a method? Venkat, I will see that. Okay, fine. So here cx static check and cx dynamic check, cx no check. Now let me show you what is the meaning of design time and all these things. So yesterday we have created this particular exception, report, and in this we are facing some we created some what exception inside the method, right? And when I created the exception inside the method, you have seen what I was doing, that I was using the raising cx psi 0 divide, right? This particular exception, I was telling to the system in advance that if you are going to raise this exception inside this method, let the system know in advance. Okay. So declaring the exception using the raising keyword inside the method parameter, right? This is mandatory for any two kind of this and this. If you are going to use the exception which is inheriting from cx static check, and if you are inheriting from cx dynamic check, you must have to give this one. Okay, you must have to give this one. So you have seen, right, when it was the divide method and when I was dividing this one, right, and when I was calling from here, correct? So there was a probability that it will be giving the what? It will be giving the exception while dividing. So in the system, well advanced, we were telling about the raising keyword over here. Do you want me to show once again? Let me show you once again. I will copy this program and DAY7, click on this copy, click on this copy, and click on this save button. So I will just remove this, enable this one. Okay, this is also not so here you should just focus this one. Custom exception, I'm not willing to show you. Custom exception we know already, right? Just I want to make sure that you should understand the concept of cx static, cx dynamic, and cx underscore no check. Okay, so here importing, exporting, this exception is now not required, right? Because I'm not using my custom exception. Okay, and right keyword, please do not pass. This is fine. This also I don't require. So this was the yesterday code, right? Now we are in line. So check the syntax now. There is no problem. Activate this one. Activate this one. So what we have seen, if you are not going to give this raising keyword, will it be able to handle the exception? Because this catch statement is outside of this particular method, it will not, right? Just can you tell your, right? You agree, right? So it will not. So what we have to do, we have to give this raising. If you don't give this raising, what it will happen? If you just comment this one, see, and if I run it, it will not be able to handle this. Okay, it will not be able to handle this one. And just so just have commented this, activate this, and if you run this one, give this 10 divided by 0, it will not handle, right? And just if you give that particular parameter over here, it will be able to, work properly. So what I'm trying to tell it over here, basically, just run this and you can see that it's able to handle the exception. That means this particular catch block is working fine. So I'm trying to tell you must have to use the raising keyword if your exception is using either cx dynamic check or cx static check. Okay, so how you can check this one? You have to double click on your exception. You will come here, go to the properties and double click over here. This is your super class, right? So double click over here and you can see that cx dynamic check. So you have to keep on going further and further until your cx dynamic check or cx underscore root or cx underscore no check comes. right? And if you double click, what will be the next class? Just right here in the chat box, what will be the next class? Okay, what will be the, very good, root class, right? If you just double click, the cx underscore root will be coming over here. Very good. So here, see, here I have written cx underscore root is your topmost exception class. This is the parent, you know, cx static, cx dynamic, and cx underscore no check, right? Now design time plus runtime. So if your cx size 0 divided, what is this? Is runtime. So you can see that this error is occurring when I'm running this particular program. It is, so when I'm commenting this one, it's not telling us that raging is required. Okay, it's not telling. At runtime, it's giving us the dump, right? But if it would have been cx underscore static check, right? Cx size 0 divide, you can see here, right? Cx size 0 divide, you can see here, it is what? It is cx dynamic check, right? It's a cx, it's inheriting from cx dynamic check. So at runtime, it is giving dump when we are not having mentioned that particular parameters, raging keyword, right? If you are going to use the cx static check, then when you will be clicking on this syntax check, there itself, what it will do? Tell me. There itself, what it will tell? It will give the error. Very good. It will give the error. Other people are not able to understand, is it? Just right here in the chat box, if you're not able to understand, I will again explain this one. Very good. If you understand, just write Y, capital Y you can write, and I will explain it once again. Okay, so Oscar is telling to explain once again. Sure, I will explain once again. So what I'm trying to tell that, see, cx underscore root is the parent, you know, this is the root class for all the exception. Is it clear? Till here it's clear? Just write yes. This part you are able to understand. Cx static check, cx dynamic check, and cx underscore no check is inheriting from cx underscore root. Again, the further exceptions are derived based upon either cx underscore static check or, you know, or this, or cx underscore dynamic check or cx underscore no check. Okay, so only these three exceptions are the important exceptions which is going to be further categorized. Okay, so when the static check is there, when you are writing the code, right, you at compile time itself, a static check means what? At the compile time, at design time, it's a static, not dynamic, right? Dynamic means runtime, correct? Dynamic means runtime. So see, the meaning of dynamic means what? Meaning of dynamic means runtime. It's clear, correct? Static means what? Design time means at writing the code. Design time means when we are writing the code. Design time is while writing the code and performing the syntax check. Okay, as well as, you know, as runtime both. Means when you are running at that time also, if something is going to bad, it will give you the exception, or when you are writing the code, you will be checking this syntax. So here you have the advantage, while writing the code itself, it will give you the error. That is the, so runtime obviously will not face any problem. Okay, runtime obviously will not face any problem, but the static, if you are going to use At runtime also, if you are using some variable dynamically, right, or something dynamically, so there it will help you. But most of the time, because while writing the code and performing the syntax check itself, it is going to be caught, runtime is safe, and that's the reason most of the time we are going to use the cx static check. Is it clear? Yeah, we are going to see that. Is it clear now, Oscar? Okay, thank you. So that is the only meaning. If it is inheriting from cx underscore static check, and if you check the syntax, right, and if you're not mentioning over here, and if you are using this particular exception inside the method, then it will, tell you that please use this raising keyword if cx underscore static check you have used, and if there is a probability that it is going to raise the uh, you know if it is going to raise that exception. That's the meaning basically. Okay, now we are going to create our custom exception and we will see the different use cases. So till here I believe it's okay. And one more thing is here, cx underscore no check, it is not caught during the compile time or runtime. The meaning over here, you know, you don't have to give any raising keyword over here inside this parameter. Okay, it is not required if you are going to give this cx underscore no underscore check. Okay, so use case for this, what I would suggest you first, let us see about this, the important one. All these exceptions itself is having uh, again you can learn so many things about it, but what I will suggest, this cx underscore no check is simple. You have to just think the scenario where you don't want to make your code robust, right? If you don't want to perform the exception, you can have your custom exception created from the meaning you can understand. It is not going to perform this check. That means if you don't want to be concrete, if you don't want to have your exception to be raised, if you don't want to get any kind of message of the exception, then of course you can use the cx underscore no check. That's the meaning of this. What is the real time scenario? Any scenario where you don't want to get the exception raised, there you can create the exception inheriting from cx underscore no check. That's why it is very least used in very rare scenario. Maybe I have not used this one. Okay, you can explore through the SAP blogs or maybe Google. Okay, what is, but this is the meaning of this. Okay, let us see the cx underscore static check and cx underscore dynamic check. I'm going to create one exception and I will show you. So let me write a use case. Use case over here, I'm creating one program. Okay, and in that program, let's suppose display an custom exception. Okay, you have to display one message. You have to throw a custom exception when a material is not extended to any of the plant. Okay, so when a material is there and if that material is not extended to any of the plant, then we have to display an exception. Okay, now you will be telling why not to display the error message, why to display the exception. So it's your call. See, exception is the handling the error in the object oriented way, right? It is handling the error in object oriented way. There are many advantages of handling this. You can get detail error, you can get the list of errors. Okay, when I will create the custom exception, you can understand the usefulness of this. So you can handle the error in your program using the exception classes instead of directly writing the error message. So again, it depends scenario to scenario how the practices in your project is following. But as a technical architect, you can suggest your team to use the exception class instead of using the directly error handle messaging, because here you are having a lot of advantage. Okay, so it is handling the error in object oriented way, and simply handling the error in a conventional way using the error message, throwing the error message, information message, right? Conventional way, you know that conventional way what we are having. Conventional way. What is the conventional way? Message, some dummy message, any dummy message you can, and you have the type I or E or, right? I or E or A, different messages we have, right? So this we can use, like, this is the conventional way. Using the exception class, this is the recommended way from the SAP, and this is what you can use in your practice, in your regular project. Okay. So now let's go and create one custom class. So to create the custom class, so see, this is what my use case: display and custom exception when material is not extended to any of the plant. So how will I check if a material is extended not in any of the plant? Who will tell, right? If that material is not present, right? If that material is not present in Marcy table, that means that material is not extended, right? If that material is not present in Marcy table, the meaning of this means that particular material is very good. That particular material is not extended. So what we will be writing the code? Tell me, what will be writing that code? We will put a select query, right? If we'll put a select query, and in select query, I will put select Matner from Marcy, right? And I will check if that particular material is present or not. So Matner equals to, I will be taking one parameter from the selection screen, and if size of RC not equals to 0, then in that case I will be raising this particular, raise. I will be using the raise type and then the exception, and this is the keyword how you can raise the exception. And all the exception is what? Your class, right? Nothing but your class. And you can pass the exporting parameter. So, and in the exporting parameter you have one text ID. This will represent your exception ID basically. So I will make, just understand over here, this is how we can raise the exception. It will become more clear. Okay, it will become more clear, don't worry. Let's go and create the exception. So there are two ways of creating the exception. If you want to create the exception, any custom exception or a standard exception, anything, there are two ways of creating the exception. So one is the OTR based. OTR based. OTR based means online transaction repository. Online transaction repository. This OTR means online transaction repository, and other is the message class based exception. Message class based exception. One is the OTR based and another is the message class based exception. Just write in the chat box till here if it is clear. Just write Y in the chat box if you are able to understand. Okay. Exception is based upon two types, OTR and message based. First, I will show you the OTR based exception. It's very easy. Both the exception creation is very easy. Just you have to focus a little bit. Okay. So while creating the exception, your exception name must be started with what? We are going to create the custom exception. So some rule you have to follow. What rule? Can you tell me rule to create the exception? See, I told you that whenever we will be creating the exception must be, so if it is a standard exception, you will find that its name will be starting with CX as a prefixed, right? So now, if want to create the custom exception, how it name should be started, right? Tell me, just guess it. Its name should be started with ZCX underscore or what? YCX, right? This is what we use for the custom object, right? Whenever we create any program, we create with G or Y, right? Here, because we are having the custom exception, so we have to start with GCX underscore or YCX underscore X, right? Very good. So now let's go and create. So what is the T code to create the exception? Who will tell? Tell me the T code. It will be AC24, right? Because the custom exception or exception is nothing but class. And to create the class, you have the T code called, tell me, AC24. The CX underscore. Here, this custom exception we are going to create for my project. Let us suppose my project is related with, so so let's give some name over here, maybe project name, project one. For project one, I want to create one. I want to handle all the error messages, so I'm just going to create one custom exception class. So whatever the object will be there in that project, I'm going to use this one, this particular custom exception. Click on this create button, and if you see, automatically the exception class is selected. Why? The system understood, okay, you are going to create the exception class because this is the naming convention you are following. Demo exception and instance generation is public, let it be public, and exception class. So if you select this one, what will happen? This is known as the message based exception. If you select this one, so that I will show you later. First, I will show you OTR based, online text repository based exception class. So now click on this save button and click on this save. Okay. And see, automatically if you go under the properties, super class is there as a CX underscore static underscore check. Okay. This let it be. Okay. Let it be CX underscore static underscore check. This is the good practice to use a CX underscore. This is the standard practice. Why? Because it will check at the time of design also and at runtime also. So when you were doing the code and if you are missing to write the raging keyword, it will give you the warning that please use this raging keyword in the parameters. It will tell you at that point of time itself. So it's good. So let it be like that. If you want to change, you can change from here. Change inheritance and you can change. But I don't want to change. Okay. So CX underscore static underscore check. Let it be like this only. And go to the interfaces. Under the interfaces, automatically to interface if underscore message and if underscore serialization object. These two message is there, right? So now two interfaces are there, right? Let it be. This is two standard interfaces, right, is there. And under the friends, nothing will be there. Attributes, you will be having cx underscore root, text id, previous, kernel error id is resumable. So this is fine. Let it be like this as it is. What we have to do, if you come to the texts, okay, and you can see that whatever you are having the class name with the same name, your one exception id have been created. And by default, cx underscore root is your default exception id. Okay, so this is very important. This particular tab is very important. Text tab is very, very important for us. Okay, so for this exception, you have to give some message over here, right? So let's suppose I'm giving some message. This is so what I want, if a particular material is not extended, so for that particular material, I want to display that this is this material, this material, or material is not extended. Simply material is not extended, right? So just save over here. This much only you'll have to do. This is the short text, and if you want to give the long text, you can mention over here. Click on this, okay, and give some long text, long description. If you want to give, you can give it. So I have given the long text and short text both. Save it and activate it. Your exception is ready now. See how easy to create the exception, right? I didn't do anything, just I created over here, right? And went into the text tab. I kept left as it is, what it was there already, and just I have to give some description, right? Some error message, some message which you want to get while throwing the exception. That only I did, right? And if you come and if you want to use this particular exception in your class, we can do that. So let's quickly create a one, class. So local class also we can create, it all depends on you. So do you want me to create the local class? Yes. If you want, let's go to AC38, and there we have to create the, so here custom exception, custom exception. So click on this create button and material validation. So very simple example, just I want to make you understand. Click on this save button, click on this save button, okay, and yes, just a second. Yeah, now it should be good. Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, so here you can come and class cl underscore mat validation. Just one class I'm creating, or cl underscore material. Let it be like this. Cl underscore material definition, and end class will be having the public section. Inside the public section, what will be one method we are having for material validation. Methods, you have to give the methods while defining the methods. So let it be a small mat validation, importing parameter im underscore matner type matner, right? And I think it is fine for the material validation, right? And now go to the class cl underscore material implementation end class. So when you will write the code, in Eclipse or edit on Eclipse, in HANA Studio or ADT on a clip, there you will find little more easiness. So that also I will show you. Here it's giving some error. Yeah, method implementation. We are going to implement the method mat underscore validation and end method. So here what you will be writing, tell me. Select, right, matnar from, so maybe one more I can write, im underscore matnar is not initial, then in that case I will perform the validation, correct? So validation makes sense when that is not initial, right? So if underscore I am underscore matnar is not initial, then select matnar from Marcy table, Marcy, and that will be really single matnar only, right? So from Marcy into, let's use the power of new syntax, lv underscore matnar, where matnar equals to underscore matnar. This is what I'm doing. Here you'll have to use the host syntax, pretty printer, and now check the syntax, right? And if size about c equals to 0, that means your material is present. So in that case, you can return that material, telling that this material is valid, or maybe it will not write anything. But if that material is not present, then what we are going to do, raise and focus here how you can raise the exception. So raise exception. This is, class based exception. There are two types of exception, non-class based exception and class based exceptions. So if you have the non-class based exception, simply you can write in raise and the exception name, as I have done yesterday, right? But this exception which I have created, what is the name of that exception? This one, ZCX underscore project one. This exception is a class based exception, and for that purpose you have to use this syntax. Okay, that's it. That's it. This much only you'll have to do. Check the syntax, and some error is there. Let's see, before the statement error structure by if. Okay, that's fine. Here if, else, and one more, and if should be there, right? You check the syntax, there is no problem. And here, see here, the exception is neither caught nor is it declared in the raising cause or mat validation, right? See what it's telling, because I have used what? CX static check. If you see that it's CX static check, it's giving me the warning. It's giving me the warning that, boss, please, when you are defining this method, give a raising keyword and do mention that exception. Mention this exception because there is a probability that inside this, because I'm raising over here, right? So system identified that. So if there is no material, it will come over here. So system identified, and it's giving me the warning. And now if you check, I will tell me, it will give me error, or it will go smoothly, right? It will not. If you check this, you can see there is no warning, right? There will be no warning. Yes, Sandeep, it makes more sense to use that, and that's why we are going to use the custom exception with the static error. This is the good practice. Mostly you will see. Is it okay, everyone? Oscar, did you understood? No, it is not required for every exception. I will show you. Just wait. Other people, Oscar, other, very good. Other people also, you can just mention. If you are not able to understand, simply you can write me over here, repeat once. Okay, at least concept should be clear. At least concept should be clear, and you will be able to implement in your real-time stuff, so concept should be clear. So if it is not clear, simply you can mention, repeat once again, and I will repeat. Do we need to create many classes for? No, I will show you. Just hold on. Okay, just hold on, I will show you. Let's go step by step, let's go step by step. So you can see that raise exception type ZCX underscore project one and activate. You can see that now it's working fine. And this material validation is inside which class? CL underscore material class. So let's go and write one code. Start of selection, and we are going to create one parameters. One parameter I have to take up the material, and CL underscore material. I was not able to copy it properly. Let me copy it properly, and I will be creating one object, right? So we know that how to create the object using the new syntax. So geo underscore mat equals to new. And at last you will have to use the parenthesis. Now your object is created and geo underscore mat. So I want to perform the validation, right? And this is where automatically see this exception is coming, right? So you can use try, and if some exception will come, and try, and this is the catch, right? So if you use the static no, automatically this catch will also appears. This will be also having one more advantage. No? So because if you will use the statics, you will must be writing it over here, and when you will be. And one of you asked me that how to get the uh, method automatically populated over here. So you have to just give the object name, then hyphen, then this arrow sign, and control space. That's it. So, and what it will populate all the component of that particular object. It can be method, it can be attribute, anything. Just you have to select and shift enter whatever you want to populate. Just select that and press shift enter. That will be populated. Okay. And now here I'm passing this parameter to this import parameter. Click on this pretty printer, right? Check the syntax, and there is no problem. Activate this one, just run this, and what will happen? Select one material. Select one material. So any material. Let us see if it is how it is. It not any error is showing. What does it mean? If it is not showing any message, not showing any error, that means it is what? It is extended, right? So we'll find one material. Just I'm going to give some bad material, which is not present at all. So this will be, of course, will not present in Marcy also, right? Just see this, and it's not giving me any message. See why it's not giving me the message. I will show you, because we are not trying to write any exception. Just remove this exception, it will go into dump. Okay, it will go into, because we are not catching. Okay, yes. So if you just run this one, and this time if you give this, it will go into dump, right? Just less than AC38 once again, run it once again, and this time will it go into dump? Let us see. No dump. No dump is this is present. Okay. If you want to see that message, can you tell me how I can get the message over there? Yesterday I have shown you create the object of this particular class and get catch into that object, or simple, very simple, into data inline declaration. We are going to use geo catch, right? You don't have to, declare and create the object. This particular syntax will do for you. Like yesterday, if you remember, first I created using the data keyword, data geo underscore catch, type ref to this particular class, then create object, right? Now I'm not doing that directly. I'm using this one. So this is what you can use now from NetWeaver 7.40 onwards. Okay, and very handy. And you can write it over here, geo underscore catch, and here get text, right? Or long text. So first I'm going to get text, the short text, right? And then long text also I can get it. So here geo underscore catch and get long text, full stop. Check the syntax, activate this one, activate this one. So now let's run this. For A100, it will be there in the Marcy, so no problem. But some dummy material, just I'm telling, and material is not extended, right? This is coming from here. It is coming from here. Material is not extended, right? This is coming from here. Material is not extended. And inside the long text, I think we missed to, save that data. That's why the long text is not coming. Okay. So let's click over here, long text. I will put it once again, long text, material not extended. Save it, save it. Okay. Save it and activate it. Okay. Now the long text also this time will come. Run this one and you can see material is not extended and long text material not extended. Now your question is, that for each message do we have to create the different exception? No, you have to logically group your requirement, and for that requirement you have to create one exception. This is the best practice. Okay. So for material related any issue, for material validation, or let's suppose if that material itself is not present in Mara table, right? If that material itself is not present in Mara table, so what we can do first, uh, copy this and paste it. Instead of Marcy, here I'm going to write the Mara, and here Matner one, right? So if size sub RC not equals to 0, that means that material is not present itself in Mara table. So I want to, raise one exception, raise exception type this. But here I want to give the different message that material is not present. Okay. So what I will do, I will create a exception ID, mat not present. Mat not present. This is the exception ID I will create. And for this, you can define one text over here. Material is not present. Okay. And here the long text also, if you want, you can give material not present. And you can write, some detail you can write. So click on this OK button. First save this one. First you have to save and click on this OK button. Now save this once again and activate it. So if you see here, if you just observe here, you can create the multiple exception ID, multiple you can create related with material. This is I'm doing for material or whatever in your that project, but that is, say, for in one project you can have the several requirement, right? So it's better for each specific requirement which you can logically group together, put those exceptions. So project one underscore material you can write, project two, you can give the project name and you can give the at last you can write material, because whatever in that project related with material you are going to do, you can do so. Or if you want to make it generic for material only, JCX underscore material you can do, so that other project people can also use. So it depends on you, right? It all depends on you what you can do this. Okay. Now I will take up your question. Just hold on. Now I want to use this exception ID. Now if you observe, as soon as you will be adding this exception ID, by default the constructor method will be having those as an import parameter. See here, this text ID and previous, this text ID is there. This text ID is what? This text ID is for the purpose of having this particular, this material not present. This is your text ID basically. Their exception ID is your text ID. Okay. So by default, if you don't pass anything, the class name will be passed as a import parameter for text ID. So here there were nothing like if you are passing from here, right? I'm not passing any export parameter, right? So for that purpose, text ID is by default taking the name of the class. But if in having the multiple exception ID, in that case, you have to specify the name if you want not to print the default one, not to get the default one. Okay, this is one point. Second point, whenever you are creating the exception ID over here in the attribute section, by default, that particular text ID will keep on populating, right? So you can see that inside the text, I am having ZCX project one and mat not present, right? In the attribute, by default, two attributes got added, right? This is important for us. Here, the system will understand this particular initial value for this particular text ID or attributes, right? You can see that this is a constant. This is the public associated type is SOTR, right? Online transaction repository, OTR based. Okay. So if you just double click here, see the data type, character string, right? UUID in character. So yeah, now you can see that the two initial values by default value for this is this one. By default for this is this one. System will understand this particular value for this text ID. So how to access the value of this particular ID? Do you know? Using the class and double equal, using the class and equal sign and greater than. I will show you. So in practical, when I will show you, then it will make more sense. So see, if that particular material is not present, if you simply give range exception type, it will take the default exception ID is what? This one. It will give you the default message for this. But what I want to show this time, I want to show this material, this message I want to show. So I will pass this exception ID, mat not present, right? So you have to pass it over here. Come here and in the exporting parameter, what in the constructor it was there? It was text ID, right? What is the constructor? See here in methods, and if it is a constructor, parameters is a text ID, right? This is what I'm going to pass. Previous is not required. Text ID is sufficient. Okay, this is the unique identifier. Text ID you have to pass. So this is nothing but this range exception. What it is going to do? It is going to create the object of this. Okay, and that and it will throw the exception. So when you are creating any object, what you have to do? It will call its constructor, right? It will call its constructor. Inside the constructor method, you are having the text ID. Just pass that particular value. What it was, you can go and take it from here. Mat not present. Mat not present in the single quotes. But directly this value will not work. This will not work. you have to pass this value. This is your actual value, right? But if you want to access through this name, what actually you have to do, you have to copy this, paste it over here, and equal sign and greater than. This is how you have to do it. Okay, because you want to access the value of this, right? And using this way, you know that how to use the any component of a class, right? So the class name, then equal sign, greater than, and then the mat not. So either you have to pass this way, or if you want to hard code, you can copy this and you can paste with. This is not recommended, right? Suppose tomorrow if it is going to change some different name, then what will happen? It will be a problem, right? So better you pass it like this. Is it, are you able to understand how I'm passing this text ID with the name of class and their attribute? Okay, so this is the best practice how you can pass the text ID. Check the syntax now. There is no problem, right? And inside the try, you got one another exception, right? You got one another exception. Which exception? This exception, right? So once it will raise the exception, it will come here, it will catch and it will display the output. Run this, give this dummy material, run this one, and you can see that material is not present, right? Material is not present. Long text it is not showing, right? It should show the long text also. Let's see if the long text is present or not. I think it is deleted. So give the long text. Okay, and just again it is not saved. No, it's saved. This time it is saved. Fine. So activate this one and it is now activated, right? And now if you run, it will give you the two, both two. So how we are doing? How we are doing? Do you want me to show in the debugging? Yes, I will show you in debugging also. Press F8, give this value over here and run this one. So what it's telling in p underscore matter, that value which are passing from selection screen is coming. We are creating the object and this method we are calling. As soon as I'm calling, this method is not initial, that means some value is there. And if you say this select statement is working fine, size of RC is 4, that means that material is not present. And I'm raising this particular keyword, right? Under the text ID, I'm passing it. And if you put the, and if you put the breakpoint on this constructor, if you want to debug, okay, put the breakpoint. And if you press F5 now, you can see that this constructor is getting called, and inside this, the text ID what I'm passing, that text ID, which is the initial value for that particular mat not found. And this text ID, me text ID, it is setting me previous, that's fine. Come here, and this is the, now it has created the object and it's raising the exception because this is the exception class, right? But here the thing is that I'm catching that exception, and in geo underscore catch, this object got created. First it will go and get the text from the exception method, right? Get text, and here again some standard code and all is there. We don't have to go in that much depth. Skip uline, skip means one step space later, uline one line, write again the long text. You can say that it is going to the long text and it's getting the long text, right? And this is what the flow of the program. Are you able to understand? Now can you tell me, you understood if you have to create the multiple exception message, now you'll be able to do, right? You can simply go into this text and you can put that particular exception ID. Let's suppose for the material related, if one material is extended into plant but no storage location is there, right? You can write that no storage location defined. the different kind of validation. If you are creating the if you were trying to create a material, and let's suppose the material type is missing, so you can create uh, a exception that boss please provide the material type, right? So different scenario it can be, right? I believe you are able to resonate with me, you are able to understand, right? You can think about your project and where it is going to fit, try to utilize. So here n number of exception id you can do, and through the attribute name you just pass it over there in the that program, right? Now you might be thinking this is very difficult to remember. What you can do that, if you think like that, SAP has given one settings pattern already. You can go here, you can select this above object pattern, click on this and select the last option, raise exception. Here different options we are having: call method, create, raise event. Raise exception is of our use. So copy this exception and just put it over here. So by this way you don't have to remember the syntax, and here automatically you can see the same syntax is populated over here in even in the better format, right? Just pass this value. That's it. So this is how you can raise the exception in your method, and that's it. Run this, and this is also going to give you the same output as earlier, right? It's working fine. Is it clear, everyone over here? We have wonderful people over here. Is it clear? Just let me know. Sandeep is asking, how do we create class-based and OTR-based exception differently? Didn't get it. Yeah, I'm going to show you now the message-based message class-based exception. There are two types of exception: OTR-based and message class-based. Okay, so let's go and see how we can create the message class-based exception. So and let's suppose in the project 2 you are trying to create the message class based exception. Click on this create button, and here let this checkbox on. Okay, if you want to create the exception based upon the message class, this checkbox must be enabled. Click on the save button, save. Okay, and here we have the in the same way, go to the text ID, define your these things, and give the message ID. So maybe I want to display the same stuff. Let's give some ID over here. Mat not present. Here also I'm going to give mat not present, and mat not extended. Mat not extended. So see here, the first one is going to be your default one. Whichever the first will be there, that is going to be your default one, right? And click on this message text. So for mat not present, I'm going to click on this message text, and here you can see that the message class is coming and message number is coming. So you should have one message class and message number ready. Okay, so we can create one message class, or from here also you can go. Click on this. Let's give some message class. So ZOO ABAP. This is the message class. The message number I'm going to use 002. Press enter. It's telling this does not exist. Do you want to create the object? Yes, I want to create the object. It will take you to the message class. Here, what I will tell: material not found. Material not found. Please check. Please check. Save it and just go back. Okay. And here you can see that message text is coming, material not found. Click on this change button and just save it. Material not extended. This also, if you want to do that, this, and give this time the message number 3. And here you can write material not extended. So like that, very simple, right? There you were simply giving the text. Here you are using the message ID and text, right? And just change it, just save it and activate it, right? So now again, if you see here in the attribute, mat not present and mat not extended has come, right? Let's go to the class, go to the change mode, and here I want to again use the same stuff. That was what this is the name of uh, the exception class, right? So this time you have to use this exception class. And mat not present, what it is, mat not present, that is fine, right? So mat not present, everything going to uh, remain same, right? Everything going to remain same, nothing here is going to change. Activate this one, activate. Some error is there, let's see what's the error. Yeah, this is actually, now this time we have to pass this. Okay, check this one, and the exception is neither caught or declared raging. Okay, so this exception again you have to catch here, right? Because I'm raising that one. So either you use both the exception, so all the exception which is going to be raised inside this you can put inside, because this is also the static check one, right? You see here, and you can see that CX static check. So at the compile time itself, while doing the programming itself, you have to give it. Okay, please go through the video recorded once, twice, thrice, it will make more sense. However, I'm trying here itself to make you understand. Fine. So now if I'm going to run this, and if you give this material number over here, and if you run once again, it's giving me error. Why? Anyone can guess it? It's, see, and here on the dump side you have the option also directly from here you can get from where it got from where this error is coming, right? This is also one benefit of exception. Directly you can get from where you can click on this debugger and it will tell you where from where this error is coming, right? So here it's a error is coming, right? It will tell you the stack also slash, so the latest stack. So there are lot many information will be there in the dump section, right, in st22. So if you double click over here, see all this detail will you get when you will get the error or information message or whatever. If you get the dump, then only this so these are many other advantage of using the exception, see here, you know but it's always good to handle the exception. Okay, but even if you're not able to handle, then also you can get lot of information. See active calls stack, right? So see, this is very powerful, right? You can see the stack, the start of selection and CL material validation. When it was calling, at that point of time it got the uh, here at which point you got the error, right? This, so you know as a mapper already these things, right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. And why it's not catching it, can you tell me? Yeah, it was not caught because the class we have written the wrongly in the what, in the catch method. We have not in fact catch. See, so here you have this catch. You can have, the you can have, can you have inside one try block the two catch? Can you have? Yes, very good. Yes, we can have more than two also. There is no problem. Okay, there is no problem. So what I will do that, this catch I will put it over here, and again this name I will change a little bit and paste it over here. 1 1. Check the syntax now. We have to copy this name. and put it over here. Okay, check this name and activate this one. So you can see that one exception I'm catching over here and another exception I'm catching over here. Okay, activate and now run this one, and this time you will get a meaningful message. See, material not found, please check. Material not found, please check. Right? How one is showing the get text and another is showing get long text. Also you can define it over here the same way, but at this moment I have not defined the long text. So for long text also by default the get text message itself is coming. Right? Are you getting the point how it's working? I will put the breakpoint over here and I will show in debugger how it's going to work. Okay, press F8 and press F8 once again, and F5, F5, F5. It's coming over here, right? Material is not initial, correct? So it will try to find that material in Mara, but in Mara that value is not present, right? So I'm raising the exception, and as soon as you raise the exception, directly it's coming to this particular catch position where the exception is not coming over here, right? Because this exception got raised this particular. So it's coming over here, it's printing this data, get text, F6, F6, and F6, and this is how it's printing. Now you will be thinking how we can pass the parenthesis, right? Parenthesis in the sense send a placeholder. Okay, placeholder. If you go here and click on display, here material not found, material not extended, right? Here what you want to do, you want to tell which material not found. Okay, so here I'm going to give one ampersand, material not found, and here I'm trying to give checked on date also I want to give. Okay, so ampersand date and time. So placeholder, as we define in the message, right? We are just giving it. Or material not extended, this also here also you can put. Let me show you this and then you will be able to understand, right? This will be sufficient. So how to pass the placeholder value, the variable into this, right? So I've saved it, and now go to the class. Okay, so let me go to the class. This one, right? This is the class. Go to the texts, right? Here we have mat not present, we have defined it, correct? And you can see material ampersand not found, checked on date, this, but this value we have to pass. So if you click on this message text, here you have the three attributes coming over here, right? Here kernel, all these things, right? What actually you have to do in the constructor parameter, if at this moment you will see you have only the text ID, right? So when you are raising the exception along with the text ID, you should have some provision to pass those attributes which will take place into the ampersand, right? So what you will what you will do, go to the attributes and see here SAP has already given message v1, message v2, v3, v4, and this option will be able to see inside the NetWeaver 7.50. Okay, uh, above NetWeaver 7.50 above. So this is one benefit, like if you're doing the coding on or above NetWeaver 7.50, so this is already 7.53, right? So this is fine. In the previous version, maybe you won't be able to find the option and you will have to use some another way. Okay, so now go to the alias and define the alias for this. So here I'm just going to, because the interface is there, and to use this one just I have to define the alias. And here once you will define the alias, so variable one v1 simply I'm giving, and public v2, public v3, and for last one also you can define. right? Yeah, all these things you can define v4. Okay, and just save this one. So once I have done all these things, just go to these methods and go to this constructor and click on this parameter. You can see that automatically message type v1, whatever I have defined over there, it has come. So this is going to help me to take the value from the program into this exception class. Okay, activate this one, activate this one. And now what you will do that you have to bind this, right? You have to bind this. So click on this message text and bind that. So attribute 1, I'm going to bind with message v1, message attribute 2 with message v2, attribute v3 with this, and like that you can bind it. So once you have binded, you know, what will happen? You can say ampersand v1 not found in check ampersand v2, and like that it is started appearing. Now how to use this? So this is the steps you will have to follow. Now go to the program and you have to, in the constructor, what you have? v1, right? You have the v2, you have the v3, right? And you have the v4 also, right? So v4 only the three placeholder I have given. But if you want, you can give b4 also, because these all are the optional parameters. So for v1, Matner, so am underscore Matner, here psi datum, and here for time, tell me what it is, use it, right? And for v4 I don't want to pass anything, or you can just, because there is no v4 defined over there, right? Only 3 parentheses we are having. Some error is there. Let's see what's the problem. I will not type compatible with the material. Okay, so it's not the type compatible, it's a telling. So we'll have to check what is the type it is. Okay, so come here, go to the methods, go to the constructor, and let's over here, right? Because this exception got raised, this particular. So it's coming over here, it's printing this data, get text, F6, F6, and F6, and this is how it's printing. Now you will be thinking how we can pass the parenthesis, right? Parenthesis in the sense, send a placeholder. Okay, placeholder. If you go here and click on display, here material not found, material not extended, right? Here what you want to do, you want to tell which material not found. Okay, so here I'm going to give one ampersand, material not found, and here I'm trying to give checked on date also I want to give. Okay, so ampersand date and time. So placeholder, as we define in the message, right? We are just giving it. Or material not extended, this also, here also you can put. Let me show you this and then you will be able to understand, right? This will be sufficient. So how to pass the placeholder value, the variable, into this, right? So I've saved it, and now go to the class. Okay, so let me go to the class. This one, right? This is the class. Go to the texts, right? Here we have mat not present, we have defined it, correct? And you can see material ampersand not found, checked on date, this, but this value we have to pass. So if you click on this message text, here you have the 3 attributes coming over here, right? Here kernel, all these things, right? What actually you have to do in the constructor parameter, if at this moment you will see you have only the text ID, right? So when you are raising the exception along with the text ID, you should have some provision to pass those attributes which will take place into the ampersand, right? So what you will do, go to the attributes and see here SAP has already given message v1, message v2, v3, v4, and this option you will be able to see inside the NetWeaver 7.50. Okay, uh, above NetWeaver 7.50 above. So this is one benefit. Like if you're doing the coding on or above NetWeaver 7.50, so this is already 7.53, right? So this is fine. In the previous version, maybe you won't be able to find the option and you will have to use some another way. Okay, so now go to the alias and define the alias for this. So here I'm just going to, because the interface is there, and to use this one, just I have to define the alias. And here once you will define the alias, so variable one, v1 simply I'm giving, and public v2, public v3, and for last one also you can define, right? Yeah, all these things you can define v4. Okay, and just save this one. So once I have done all these things, just go to these methods and go to this constructor and click on this parameter. You can see that automatically message type v1, whatever I have defined over there, it has come. So this is going to help me to take the value from the program into this exception class. Okay, activate this one, activate this one. And now what you will do, that you have to bind this, right? You have to bind this. So click on this message text and bind that. So attribute 1, I'm going to bind with message v1, message attribute 2 with message v2, attribute v3 with this, and like that you can bind it. So once you have binded, what will happen? You can see ampersand v1 not found in check ampersand v2, and like that it is started appearing. Now how to use this? So this is the steps you will have to follow. Now go to the program, and you have to, in the constructor, what you have? v1, right? You have the v2, you have the v3, right? And you have the v4 also, right? So v4 only the three placeholder I have given. But if you want, you can give v4 also, because these all are the optional parameters. So for v1, matner, so am underscore matner, here psi datum, and here for time, tell me what it is, use it, right? And for v4 I don't want to pass anything, or you can just, because there is no v4 defined over there, right? Only 3 parentheses we are having. Some error is there. Let's see what's the problem. I will not type compatible with the material. Okay, so it's not the type compatible, it's a telling. So we'll have to check what is the type it is. Okay, so come here, go to the methods, go to the constructor, and let's see what's the type they are taking. Message variable, this is the message variable car50. Okay, and matner is what? If you see here, this is of car40, right? You have to convert into that, right? You have to convert into that. So let's quickly convert into that. Data, or maybe simply I will write it lv underscore matner type matner. It was of car50, right? So I'll give that car50, and lv underscore matner equals to arm underscore matner, or new line syntax also, whatever you find easy. From performance point of view, new syntax in terms of data declaration, it is not going to give you any performance, better performance or something like that. This is a myth. Okay, the benefit of that, coding will be efficient. That is the benefit. Okay, some people will tell you when we are going to use the new inline declaration and all, it will become faster and all. No, it's not going to be anything. Yeah, some syntax like loop at group by, which works directly at the kernel layer, that is going to give you really awesome performance. Or this one, we are having one or two more concept, you know, uh, you can check it out. It's there on the YouTube on my channel. There I have put it. Okay. Activate despite error on the problem detected. A side item is not type compatible. Again, side item is not type compatible. That is fine. So we have to define the type compatible, right? So LV underscore datum equals to, so LV underscore datum, again you will have to define, or what I can do that. Let's go and check all those things will be, I think, of car 50, right? Yeah, car 50, car 50. So you can give this material, this data element directly over here, and let's give a try if it is going to work. Psi datum. Let's check the syntax. Is known structure of private arcades, understanding this as, you know, so make here the data keyword. Now just give a try. Not able to understand. Not a structure. Okay. Okay, fine. Let it keep it in the old way. I was trying to put into the new syntax, but here's some error I'm able to find. So let's define LV underscore and data type char 50 once again. And for use IT also we have same, right? LV underscore use IT type char 50 and LV underscore datum equals to psi datum, and then the LV underscore UJD, and for LV underscore UZIT equals to what? Psi UZDIT. Okay. 5T printer, check the syntax, and now we can pass that one. LV underscore datum and LV underscore UZIT. UZIT. Check this. LV matter already declared. Okay. So mark it as a 1 as of now. Are we using 2 or 3 times? It'll be okay. Here also we are doing, and here also. So just simply at the moment changing the name and activate this one, activate. And this time you will realize that, you know, you will get the value also. That's the benefit of a message class. So this is my material. So I'm just giving the material some, I know, 003, which is not present. It looks like it is not present, right? Run this one and you can see that material not found, checked on date this and time this. Material not found, this is what the exception was caught. So this is the benefit of having the message ID based exception. Did you get the point over here? Right? Okay, fine. So this way you can just go and check it out. Okay, and that new syntax and all, I think on SAP Yard site also you can have a look, and on my site you can look with the Pankaj Kumar SAP Tech Trainer, you know, new syntax playlist, and there you will be able to get it. All the new syntax I have put it over there. New syntax, new open, new syntax is there. Okay, new open SQL is not there, but new syntax complete list I have put it over there, and you can just thank you, Oscar, and hope you Understood now? From here we are passing. And again, like if you don't if you are getting confused like how to populate this one, then it's very simple. You can go from here pattern and select this one, click on this OK, and go to this range exception, and you should know that particular exception class name. Copy this, paste it over here, and click on this OK, and automatically it will be populated for you, right? And text ID again you can pass, and always remember to pass the text ID through the name of the class, okay, and the way we access the static component. Okay, so this is what mat not present. So like that, you just have to put it. Previous is not required here. Message type, if you want to pass the message type, and here like it depends on you, message, what kind of message type you want to pass. Okay, so this v1, v2, v3, and v4, this value you can pass as I am doing over here, right? With this, I'm done for the today's class. We are supposed to complete this cleanup and all those things also, but I will not be able to cover it today. Tomorrow we'll see this cleanup block and resumable exception. Okay. So if you have anything over here, you can just go and unmute yourself and you can discuss. Any question, any query? Raj?
Pankaj, Raj here.
Yeah, Raj, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pankaj, are you
Uh-huh.
getting my messages? Because in between I was typing something, but you are not responding for that.
Okay, I didn't
Can
get, yeah, just let me check. Just give me a moment. I'm checking.
now
Uh,
I pinged as hi. The last message is mine in the chat. Did you get
uh,
that? Again, I
yes,
pinged
yes,
hi.
yes, yes, I'm getting. Yes, Raj,
Okay,
I'm
okay,
getting
okay.
your
But I
message.
mean, today you were not responding for my messages. I thought it was
No, no, no,
not.
I didn't see. I didn't see
No worries,
actually.
no worries, no worries.
Just a second. How to use multiple messages? Your question is
No,
this one?
that's what
Uh-huh.
someone asked the same thing and you explained it. But
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
they asked later. I have asked,
Yeah, yeah, tell
but you were
me.
not going through my message. So, I mean, it was the same question. Someone
Hmm.
has asked you how to use. I mean, do we
No, no,
need to
actually,
create?
yeah, whenever the same message come, I take any one of them, and
Okay,
just
okay, okay.
yeah,
I mean,
explain them.
basically you
Uh,
were reading the messages.
yeah.
You haven't read my message as well, so I thought it was not coming
No,
to
no,
you.
no, no, it's coming.
Okay,
It's
okay.
coming. Anything left eye over there?
No, 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 no,
It's
no.
covered, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Coming, your message is coming.
Okay.
Okay, fine. OTR means online transaction repository. Okay, where your messages are getting saved. Whenever we create this, there is a repository that when we are creating, see the text. So when you are writing this long text, where it is getting saved, the place where it is getting saved, that is known as the OTR, online transaction repository. Okay, so this is just a naming convention, OTR.
Yeah, one thing we
Uh,
missed my question. I was rechecking. What is
mhm,
the advantage of using that raising exception as a parameter rather directly
uh,
using in the try catch block in the method? I mean, in the calling itself. Why do we need to use that raising exception as a parameter?
Raising, so if you don't raise that one, system will not allow, or it will not be able to handle the exception. Okay, means say here like if you don't give this raising, means you have to tell to the system in advance that what kind of exception it can expect, right? So you can see that
Okay.
raise exception. So if you don't give this one, it will not be able to handle this catch will not work. This catch, I'm writing outside of this. See this method, outside of method I'm trying to write this catch, right?
Correct. But why do you need to write? You can write it inside, right?
This catch statement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can write see in the here you can write, there is no problem. This is a different way, like in many
Okay,
scenario what
okay.
you will have to do, so if you want to write the here the benefit, like here after calling this message, let's suppose if you want to populate some extra message, your own message, right? If you
Okay.
want to write some your right statement, you can do it over here, right? Your own
Okay,
message,
okay.
your own message you can write. So this is the flexibility here, you will get your own message. And So there you will not be able to write your own message, right? Here,
Correct.
right? So these are the different way. Whichever you way means whichever the way you like to be correct, you can use that one. But
So there is nothing like the best practices or something
best
in
practice.
this different
No,
scenarios what you have shown.
in this there is no any best practice. In this scenario, if
Okay.
you are going to call that particular method, right, then
Uh-huh.
you have to means if you are going to call method and after that if you want to catch the exception, this is what the protocol you have to follow. You have to mention this raising clause. Okay, and all
Okay.
the exception which is going to be raised, it should be there, otherwise it will not, you will not be able to handle the exception outside. So for handling outside, this is what you should require. If you want to handle inside, there is no problem. Okay.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Yeah, yes, the more flexibility will be getting, that is true. Okay, so it again depends on your requirement to requirement, you can use that.
Got it.
Okay, anything else from anyone? Okay, I think I'm done. And just one more thing I will discuss, 2 minutes only, and just tell me what is the difference between raise and raising keyword, because Raj asked, so I just remember this one, raise and raising keyword. So the raise is to raise the exception. Raise, this is to raise the exception. Okay, so if someone is not speaking, you can mute. Background noise is coming. Just I'm muted everyone. Okay, so to raise the exception, non-class based exception, non-class based exception, right? To raise the non-class. Another was what? Raise exception type. Raise exception type. This is for to raise the class based exception. And raising is what? Raising, this you have to use in method interface, right? Method interface. Interface means parameter. Okay, interface is nothing but your parameter. So you have to raising keyword, you have seen that I have been using raising keyword. Raise exception type, the class based exception, and raise keyword simply for the purpose of raise the exception. So either this you can use in the, so it means non-class based exception, right? Yesterday we have seen that one. So if you don't remember, go through the yesterday video and how I have used the simply raise keyword, you can check out over there. Or let me show you quickly. Go here and see. This is exceptions, right? So if you have the parameters like these exceptions, my exceptions, you can use the raise like this. So this is the basic difference between raise, raising, and raise exception type. With this, I'm done. Let's stop our class today and meet in the next class tomorrow. And probably we'll be getting today the assignment. Try to complete this assignment. And in case of any doubt, we'll be discussing tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Pankaj.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, take care, man. Bye.
Bye bye.